I would now like to introduce your host and moderator for today's event, Mr. Anurag Varma, Vice President, Head of Global Government and Public Affairs for Infosys.
Good afternoon, everyone. What a pleasure to be here for such an exciting day for Infosys, for Canada, for the broader tech community in Calgary, in Alberta, and nationwide. I will be your moderator today. As Brad mentioned, I am Vice President, Global Government and Public Affairs for Infosys. I'm based out of California. When I was asked to moderate today, I told my wife that I was being chosen because of my stunningly good looks and sizzling DJ voice. She quickly corrected me and she says, no, you're probably being chosen because you're the only Infosys employee worldwide who was born in Foothills Hospital, Calgary, raised in Edmonton, and attendee of the U of A. And I think once again, she was right. But that only gives me more pride that our global company is now coming to a neighborhood that I know very well. And I believe that this is going to be a match made in heaven. Excuse me. I'd like to talk a little bit about Infosys as a company. As many of you may know, we are a talent company. We are a company that provides the talent to help our clients on their digital transformation futures. For the longest time, providing such talent meant starting out in our headquarters in India and finding all of the talent we could get there, skilling them up to the point that they were ready for our clients' needs, and then sending them wherever they needed to go to satisfy those needs and work with our global clients. Several years ago, we just had a light bulb flash and we said, well, wait a second. Why can't we do the exact same things with talent and skills and our collective digital futures and do it in all the places where we are working? And you will meet one of our leaders who was the key inspiration to that, Ravi Kumar, and he'll talk to you about what we call our localization journey. It's the journey that we use to go and skill talent in all of the places where we are, rather than just only at our headquarters. With that in mind, you will see that the Infosys mothership and the Infosys way of doing business that we've done for 37 years, in the last few years, we have actually taken the principles behind the mothership and landed them in a number of locations. And again, I'll leave it to Ravi to describe some of the components of that. But the big picture there is what we call ecosystem engagement, right? There's always the work with our customers, which is of the most importance. There's always the work that we do with our technology partners. But then there's the everybody else, working together with governments, with educational institutions and business organizations and tech organizations to actually make a holistic engagement for a win-win within the entire ecosystem when it comes to our collective digital futures. With that, I did want to emphasize that what you're going to see here today in the next several minutes is a demonstration of how that's how we're beginning our journey in Calgary, right? You will see some of your leading lawmakers and political leaders, those with vision. You will see educational institutions, you'll see private sector. And I will tell you, a lot of the people we've already met have been 100% with us on this journey. I must begin with the provincial leader. Let me just tell you, you all know Premier Kenney. We have gotten to know him in the last year and his team and his staff. And it's clear that economic development and skills of the future are one of his top areas of focus. I couldn't help but notice, because we have not yet met in person, a lot of people haven't met in person in the past year, that he is a very young leader. I've known Mayor Nenshi for a number of years. He's another young leader. And I gotta say, nothing against those people who aren't quite young anymore, but it's such a great vision for the future that these are the folks that are leading the way. With that, Premier Kenney, may I turn it over to you for your thoughts and remarks?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anurag, and so proud of you as a born and bred Albertan, born and raised Albertan, for your achievements down there in the Valley in San Francisco. And thank you to Infosys. Thank you to Ravi Kumar, who I had a great opportunity to speak with at length last month. Thank you to your whole team for what is a red letter day for Alberta. You have no idea what great news this is. This is one of the best days in Alberta's economy in some years. This vote of confidence in the talent and the future of Alberta, the youngest province in Canada, the best educated province in Canada, the most flexible labor market in Canada, with the most pro-business, pro-enterprise environment in Canada. And we're not stopping here. Our goal is to become the freest and fastest moving economy in North America. We're obsessed with achieving that goal. And I just want to say that this decision to locate a major emphasis office with 500, at minimum, 500 new good-paying positions right here in downtown Calgary. I guess we estimate filling up 50,000 square feet of office space in a downtown that needs it desperately. This is an amazing shot in the arm, great momentum when we need it most. And I also am very delighted that Ravi and Infosys is looking at this as a beginning of the footprint in Alberta and looking at potentially significant future expansion to a much larger workforce. And we want to work with you to make that happen. We're doing everything we can in policy terms to welcome you and to attract other tech investors and people in the whole innovation space. We've done that through our recovery plan to get through and past COVID, while broadening our economic base, of course, maintaining a strong future for our historic and largest industries. But we're really starting to see critical mass in the tech and innovation sector here. I know that ecosystem is an overused cliche in the tech sector, but it's true that nothing succeeds like success. And we hear from the growing number of startup companies who are increasingly successful in raising venture capital in this province that one of their biggest barriers to growth and expansion is the availability of folks with relevant skills and experience. And just building a broader labor pool of people with relevant skills in the tech sector will help every company in the innovation space in this province, which is why these 500 starting positions are so critically important. We're trying to, last year we've seen some great progress, the largest ever amount of venture capital raised in this province at $600 million, even during a really tough year. We were off to a strong start in 2021 with deals being made and new startups locating here in Calgary and elsewhere in Alberta. We are trying to accelerate that with Alberta's new Innovation Employment Grant, which provides a 20% grant for eligible R&D expenses, as well as just, as I say, creating the best overall climate for startups generally and startups in particular and new enterprise in general. We're doing that with a 1/3 reduction in the business tax rate, a 1/3 reduction in the red tape burden, the number of regulatory requirements in this province. We're doing it through the creation of the Invest Alberta Agency, which is playing a role in today's event. I want to give a shout out to David Knight-Legg and his team for working with Calgary Economic Development in doing everything we could to make this decision the right one for Infosys. So let me just say once again, thank you. It's been a tough few years in this province, a tough year for all of us with COVID, but we have this is a great sign of promise for the future. Last year, Alberta led Canada in population growth. Who knew? In a year where our economy was hit especially hard. We see real estate values coming back up strongly. We saw Alberta gain 20,000 jobs in January when the rest of Canada lost a couple of 100,000. Every week we seem to have a new company. Last year we had near record levels of business incorporations, and every week we seem to have a new successful startup beginning here in Alberta or expanding. So you're going to be, I think, the culture of Infosys, the nimble culture of enterprise that has always characterized this company with $72 billion in market cap is going to find a perfect marriage with the culture of enterprise in Alberta. We look forward to doing everything we can to make your Alberta story a success.
Thank you, Premier. Just so great to have you there with us since day one, and to have your leadership. And we look forward to working more with Invest Alberta. And a number of your ministers have already reached out, and so we look forward to see what more we're going to do together. With that, I'd like to introduce one of our topmost executives in the world, Ravi Kumar. Ravi has joined forces with our CEO, Salil Parekh, and many others in actually creating the vision around the future of work and localization in all the places we go. I do think that in the past year, 2 years, Ravi has really put emphasis on the map as a leader on next generation skills. Tom Friedman wrote an op-ed about 3 months ago in the New York Times, where the title of that op-ed was "After the Pandemic, a revolution in education and work awaits." I encourage everyone to look that up, and you'll get a real deep dive on how Infosys and Ravi view the future of digital, the future of work, and skilling. With that, it is my great honor to introduce the Infosys president, Ravi Kumar.
Thank you, Anurag, for that kind introduction. Thank you, Premier, for that wonderful context setting. We are very, very excited about our announcement today in Calgary. And I'm going to set a little bit of context about why this is so critical for the state of Alberta, for the city of Calgary, as well as for Infosys. You know, Infosys is a global tech and digital services company helping large enterprises to transform their businesses powered by digital technologies. There is no industry, no business which is today not a technology company. And we think we have this wonderful opportunity to partner with enterprises to transform them on this journey of digitization. And over the last 35 years or so, we built large pools of talent in India when traditional tech services were in vogue. And in the last 5 or 6 years or so, we've started to think about how do we actually bring those talent pools in closer proximity to our principal markets. Because digital technologies are consumed in close proximity, they're co-created and co-innovated along with the enterprises, our clients. And they're done in conjunction with our clients in short intervals. So this journey started in 2017, where we got to the principal market, the US, and we made an announcement of 10,000 jobs. We got past to 13,000 jobs, and then we added additional 12,000 jobs in September of last year, where we made an announcement to take another 12,000 jobs to 2022. Now, in this process, we established 6 digital innovation and tech hubs in the US. We are about to establish the largest corporate training facility in Indianapolis, and we're on track on the hiring targets we actually set ourselves for. And the idea is to co-create and co-innovate with these enterprises and help them on the transformational journeys. Now, in the process, we hired from schools and colleges in the US. That is why we are such a purposeful and a unique employer. We hired from schools and colleges. We repurposed talent from adjacencies. We took talent from traditional industries and built bridges into the digital future. We looked for talent which is available in adjacent capabilities and did reskilling. And we did a variety of things to get to a point where we now believe this is mainstream for us. And this is our opportunity now to expand that story to the city of Calgary. The reason why Calgary was in our shortlist and why we ended up choosing Calgary is the following. The cost of living is very attractive, great quality of living standards, very closely knit community. The government, the academia, and the enterprises are very closely knit. I've been speaking to Moran, the president of the Calgary Economic Development, And she was kind enough to introduce us to the businesses. And it was such a close-knit group that we believe that we could be that orchestration. We could build that orchestration between enterprises, academia, and the government. The academic institutions were top-notch. The academic institutions are top-notch. We think we could build a pipe of talent to come from these academic institutions. We build training infrastructure, the training infrastructure needed to build the capabilities for the future. We will partner with academic institutions. And more importantly, we will build bridges to traditional industries where there is talent available. And we could actually build the bridges to the future, the digital capabilities needed for large enterprises. The clients we're going to cater to from Calgary are going to be local Canadian clients, as well as clients from the US. We already have a presence in Vancouver, Ottawa, Montreal, and Toronto, and we have added 1,500 people in the last couple of years in these locations, and we have 2,000 plus employees in Canada. So this is a proven, tested experiment. We've already done that in the US, we've done it in Vancouver and Toronto, and now we are bringing it to the beautiful city of Calgary. And we think Calgary is going to be one of those vibrant tech and innovation hubs. And we are hoping that Calgary could be this tech innovation ecosystem, which we could actually lead, and we could bring everybody else behind us in this journey of digital capabilities of the future. We've already spoken to all the academic institutions locally, the University of Calgary and SAIT, and we think we have an opportunity to partner with them to build these bridges. More importantly, we also think we can actually build bridges from traditional talent pools. In fact, there is a platform called Reskill and Restart Infosys has started with to do radical reskilling of traditional jobs of the past, which will go away, and transition them to jobs of the future. I strongly believe that digital technologies is going to create more jobs for the future, and it will take away jobs of the past, but it will create more jobs for the future. So we could be that bridge to create those jobs. And we think it's an extraordinary opportunity for the city of Calgary, for Infosys, and for the state of Alberta to build this ecosystem, and we could lead that path. So thank you again for this warm welcome. Thank you for this support. I have some of my clients joining in today. The local government in the state of Alberta has been very kind to us. The academic institutions locally are very pumped up to partner with us. And this is a starting point, as the Premier said. And if we can get past this target, we look forward to more.
Thanks so much, Ravi. I will tell you, there's so much excitement at Infosys, and Ravi, I hope you all saw it, as one of the leaders who will be driving this forward. He already knows names that he never knew before, and that includes SAIT and University of Calgary, and some of those who graduated from another university a little further north also know that University of Alberta, we've already started engaging on global internship programs, and I do want to give a thank you to all of the academic institutions who have already come forward, all the ones I named and others, Dr. McCauley in Calgary as well, and we have just received such a red carpet. But I have to tell you, you have to remember those who brought you to the dance. 4 years ago, Mayor Nenshi will remember, he and Mary Moran and a delegation came out to Palo Alto, California, and lo and behold, they invited me to dinner. They thought they were inviting an Infosys executive, and said what they got was an Edmonton Oilers fan.
Terrible.
But all good things have good endings. And I just will say, Mayor Nenshi, you have stuck with the idea that Infosys, Calgary, Alberta would make great bedfellows. And I do have to hand it to you. Thank you so much for your vision in that regard. Mayor Nenshi, please.
Well, Anurag, thank you so much. And you know what? I could not be happier than I am today to be here with all of you. And Anurag, I want to say to you in front of your big boss here, a very personal, special thank you to you. You're exactly right. We invited you to dinner. We were thrilled that you came. And when you sat down at dinner, you reminded me that you and I have been circling around one another for 30 plus years. And you are truly an Albertan, even though you've been away for a long time. And I know you personally have put an enormous amount into making this happen because it's right for Infosys, but it's also right for where you come from. And Anurag, I want to say thank you to you for that. So 4 years ago, you and I were having dinner with Mary. 1 year ago today, I was in Bangalore talking about opportunities for Indian business here in Canada on my very first trip to India. A week ago today, I woke up early for me to start hitting reload and refresh on my browser over and over again to get my mom booked for her COVID-19 vaccine as her 80th birthday present. And the reason I say those things together is that despite this crazy, awful year that we've had in so many ways, today I am filled with optimism, filled with hope. Now, I'm always optimism and hope. That's kind of why I'm the mayor. But ultimately, I see such better days coming. And Ravi, thank you. Thank you for your vote of confidence to Calgary today. And I feel like I could have written your speaking notes because that's precisely what we're looking at. So for those that aren't as familiar with the tech sector, you need to understand that Infosys is one of the global leaders in tech, period. Not one of the global Indian leaders, not one of the global leaders in the kind of services that they provide, one of the global leaders in tech, period. And absolutely having Infosys make such an investment here in Calgary means that they will, in fact, form even more of a nucleus for our extraordinary ecosystem. So today really is about hope, and today really is about optimism. Now, it's not an instant fix, but it is a cause.
Hi. Did we lose you? Sound. We may have. Why don't we have the team see if we can work on that and just.
All right, hopefully that's better.
Oh, you're better. Yep.
All right, I think I'm back. So I'll rewind a little bit, and I will just say that I am so excited that we are able to have Infosys form the nucleus, a new nucleus for our tech system here. So for those that don't know, Infosys is not just a great Indian company or a leader in Indian tech. They're a leader in tech globally. This is a very, very big fish that does extraordinary work around the world. It's one of the greenest tech companies in the world. It's one of the fastest growing, and they do extraordinary work. So I'm really excited about the relationships that they will have with the University of Calgary, with State School for Advanced Digital Technology, and with others. And as Ravi mentioned, there's a lot of reasons for this. You know, the first is that Calgary offers a tremendous quality of life. You know, we were named by The Economist last year as the very best city to live in the entire Western Hemisphere. We're very proud of that. We offer an extraordinary cost of living. And whenever I'm speaking to people in other tech hubs, I just tell them how much my house costs and what the great location is, which also helps an enormous amount. So to have Infosys here in Calgary, in downtown Calgary, it's an important part of our economic development strategy, and we are thrilled. So Ravi, thank you for making this bet. Anurag, thank you for all of your great work. Thank you to our partners at the Government of Alberta, and a special thank you to my colleagues at Calgary Economic Development who have been working so hard on this. And I'm so thrilled that I always tell them they provide concierge service to anyone who wants to come to Calgary. And I'm so excited that they've done that here and now. Here's to a very bright future for Calgary and for Infosys.
Thanks so much, Mayor. Just great to see you, and great to have your leadership as well. And I will say there's a lot of cooperation that we've seen behind the scenes, from the mayor's office to the premier's office to the economic development organizations, the educational institutions, and the businesses, all the business leaders that we've met. And again, we've met at least a dozen, including a couple of people that I grew up with, which was fun too. But I will say this, one of the glues to the Calgary story as far as it comes to Infosys, or probably the main glue, has been the Calgary Economic Development Organization. What Mary Moran and her team have done in basically saying, look, we want to roll out the red carpet, but we want to make it your shade of red, right? So we're going to get to know you and your needs and what you need to see in order to make a decision. And that includes working with the Premier's office and working with all the other partners. And they really did that. And it was really extraordinary. And I think I do give a lot of credit to Mary, but without her team and without her board and the vision of a lot of the business leaders, none of this would have come together in the great way that it did. With that, Mary, thank you. And I'd love to turn.
Thanks so much, Anurag, and just a great privilege to be here today with everyone. And I certainly want to start off by saying how absolutely thrilled we are that Infosys has chosen Calgary to make its next major investment in the Canadian market. This announcement, an announcement like Infosys, is really an economic developer's dream come true for many reasons that I'll share with you in a minute. But I think it's really important to acknowledge that economic development is a team sport, and this is a team win. Between the support from all orders of government and the respective investment agencies and newly formed Invest Alberta, to the community that responded to the calls that we made to meet Ravi or Anurag at Infosys, it's truly been a team effort, and Calgary Economic Development owes thanks to many, many people in this community. But most of all, I want to thank Ravi, Anurag, and SP, who is also on the phone at Infosys, for believing in our team, who does amazing work, but also believing in Calgary. And as the mayor said, to have a global leader in next generation digital services with clients from around the world commit to a placing its roots in our community is a testament to the quality of opportunity that is presenting itself here in Calgary today. We are indeed an opportunity-rich city. And although we're at an inflection point, we know that our future success is going to be based on the speed at which we embrace digital technologies in our traditional industries and solve problems for the world. Whether that be cleaner energy, safer, secure food in our agriculture industry, the ease and movement of goods and people in our transportation, logistics, and aerospace, or increasingly so, better health solutions. And so for the time for Infosys to set up in the 5th most livable city in the world and the highest concentration of head offices in Canada, it is perfect. And today's announcement will indeed be a turning point for the tech and innovation ecosystem in Calgary. And it means that there's going to be lots of opportunities, new opportunities for Calgarians. I think the Premier said technology isn't a sector anymore, it's a way of doing business, and it will help companies be more productive, more predictive, and more efficient. And in Calgary and in Alberta's case, it will help them solve global problems. And we believe that Infosys will help us achieve our potential as a city and as a province. And Infosys has an immense opportunity in Calgary because we are this opportunity-rich city. But most importantly, and Ravi talked a little bit about this, but what I've been most impressed with in dealing with the team at Infosys over the past few years is their focus on community. In addition to being awarded top employers in many countries, including Canada, they're so deeply committed to the community that they invest in, and most importantly, the people that live there. They truly believe that giving back, and I personally know that they are dedicated to working in step with Calgary Economic Development, the Government of Alberta, and our local partners to ensure that we can reskill and restart people's careers here by providing training to Calgarians that will ensure that they're equipped with these necessary digital skills to support local companies and compete on the global stage in this new economy. I could go on and on forever about Infosys, given our long-term relationship and what a big opportunity this is for Calgary today. But I think it would be better if you heard from a couple of leaders and they gave you their perspective. So first, I get the great privilege of introducing Dr. David Ross, the president of Southern Alberta Institute of Technology, or SAIT, who is also a board member at Calgary Economic Development. So Dr. Ross, a very warm welcome to you.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very good.
Great, thank you. Let me just ask you a question about digital transformation and its impact on the workforce of tomorrow. Given the pace of change in the digital environment, there are increasing demands on next generation of talent. How do we prepare as a community to adapt to these new digital workforce? And what does it mean to have a company like Infosys come into the ecosystem?
Thanks, Mary. And let me first of all start off by enjoying the chorus in terms of congratulations to Infosys today. A great day and a heartfelt welcome to Ravi, to Anurag, to SP, and to all of the Infosys community. And I can say on SAIT's behalf, we're very much looking forward to working with you in terms of the talent journey that you've heard about this morning. Now, I'll answer the second or comment on the second part of the question first, perhaps. My sense is that this really is sends a clear message, a game changer for Calgary. We have a world-class organization, as we've heard this morning, coming into Calgary. I think it recognizes our digital infrastructure and how that's evolving. Certainly, from my perspective, the available talent and what they can do to help this opportunity. I think it also sends a very clear message that Alberta is very open for business, and that businesses can find exceptional opportunities here in the province. So I think there's so many positives to this announcement that we get to look forward to in the months and years ahead. To the second part of the question, and I've heard a lot of comments this morning about what's needed, and Ravi, I was very happy to hear your comments about your skill strategy, and I think it very much aligns with what the opportunities are here and my discussions with Anurag about this. First of all, you're right, every company is a technology company, and therefore every employee requires technology and digital skills. Our School of Advanced Digital Technology, which you've heard a bit about this morning, really is set up to do exactly that, to partner with business, to get close to business, and quite frankly, align itself so that the graduates that come out of the institution are in a position to immediately add value to the organizations that they work for. And that's critical for us. No more of this lag between education and career starting or career advancement. The graduates are absolutely ready to take on the opportunities of the moment and beyond. The other piece, and I think this fits into your skill strategy, as I understand it, is this whole flexible labor market question. So one of the things that we're doing at SAIT is it isn't my mother and father's reality. My mom, God bless her, worked for the same organization for 45 years. And the last 25 in the same role. Well, those days are quickly and long gone for most. And so the employees today have to be flexible. They have to be able to react to the opportunities, to the project environments they find themselves in, to the global reality of the teams they work with. And SAIT is very much committed and working hard to make sure our graduates have those skills. And again, when they come to Infosys, are ready to take on the opportunities that are available. Lifelong learning, we've long talked about, and I'll just share quickly with you. I think in post-secondary education, we've worked this for a long time, but the reality today is this. When you graduate from a post-secondary institution, be fully aware that you're going to come back for visits on a fairly regular basis, whether that's for upskilling, reskilling, whatever phraseology we want to use. Individuals, and we see that with our alumni base, for example, are coming back on a regular basis for top-ups, for new ideas, and to be exposed and gain experience with new technologies in particular. And finally, I'll end with this point. I think it's important to recognize how critical it is for post-secondary education to be, and I mentioned this earlier, to be aligned with industry. I can't stress that enough, that the labor requirements today are accelerating, the change is accelerating, and we need to be prepared and closely understand what industry needs as our graduates leave institutions or cycle through institutions as they upskill. So just a few ideas. Again, I'm looking forward to the partnership. This is very exciting, and this is an important day for Calgary. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ross. And, we couldn't agree with you more. I think this triangulation between government, economic development agencies, and post-secondaries and industry is really critically important. And, I believe Ravi was quoted, or he wrote an op-ed in the New York Times, which talked about that the ongoing training is going to be the current or the new pension of today. And so people have to continue to do that in order to be able to succeed and prosper in the new economy. I'd now like to just shift gears to private sector and like to call upon our good friend at Calgary Economic Development, Ed Sims, who's the president and CEO of WestJet Airlines, to talk about their digital journey and how it has helped them become more globally competitive. Welcome, Ed.
Good afternoon, Mary. Good afternoon, everyone.
Ed, my question for you is, can you tell us a little bit about WestJet's digitization experience, how you've embraced digitization, and what it means for the ecosystem to have a company like Infosys come into the market?
Very happy to, Mary. Thank you. And again, let me offer my congratulations to Calgary Economic Development and everybody in Alberta on such a auspicious occasion. It's just wonderful, as the Premier said earlier, to be on the front foot and to be spreading good news about creating employment in this wonderful city and incredible province. Before I move on to digitization, I want to talk about diversification, because at WestJet, we've been diversifying the Albertan economy, not instead of the resource sector, but over and above and incremental, and very supportive of the resource sector for the last 25 years. So diversification can be done, it needs to be done, and it can be done very successfully in the province. So I do want to welcome both Ravi and Anurag, and I want to come back to a couple of comments they made. They talked about talent, and I can absolutely give Infosys every reassurance. There is enormous reservoir of talent from SAIT, from the UFC, from U of A, right across the province. They talked about ecosystem engagement, and that's something that's very close to our heart. As an airline, we have to reach out across ecosystems to make sure we're looking after our guests and, of course, looking after our business partners. They talked about building bridges, and that's something that's incredibly close to me personally. As an airline, we are about building bridges when others have built walls, and that's critically important to our future. But unfortunately, towards the end, Anurag talked about the importance of having young leaders, and I don't tick that box, so we'll move swiftly on from there. But in terms of our digital journey, I still think we are infants, and this is why we're so excited to have Infosys to be able to help us on that journey. We currently have around 65% of our guests self-serve when they come to check in or board their flights. I think that should be around 90%, which is more akin to the global average, and I'm looking forward to extending that conversation. We talk about artificial intelligence. We were the first to introduce an active chatbot with regards to our reservations, which now operates, of course, 24/7 with instant response times. But again, I'm looking forward to getting Infosys's guide to how we can enhance that. And we were the first really to engage with active social media and use that as an integral part of our marketing mix. So I think our digital journey has been underway probably for the last 10 or 15 years, but I still think that in many ways we're neophytes. And we want what Calgary Economic Development want, which is for Calgary to become the digital and tech center of Canada and indeed of North America. And that is good for us because clearly it's encouraging more people to travel and interact face-to-face, as well as through new technology. But I think it's a wonderful opportunity for Infosys to work very closely with WestJet on building national and international bridges across the world to bring the best of the world's talent to Calgary. So we've started on this journey. We've been on this journey for many years. I think Infosys are exactly the catalyst that the province, the city, and WestJet need to accelerate that journey.
Thank you very much, Ed, and Dr. Ross for your insight. And I believe I'm going to pass it over to SP Singh.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Mary. Good afternoon, everybody. And it has been an incredible day, phenomenal day for the state of province of Alberta, the city of Calgary, and Infosys. I am SP Singh, and I am a vice president, and I head delivery and operations for Infosys operations in Canada. So I would just like to start with thanking thank you, Mr. Sims and Dr. Ross, for the insightful discussion that we had, shedding light on the Calgary and Canadian business perspective, as well as the digital skills development and alignment with educational institutions in Canada, and of course, the diversification of talent. A very grateful thank you to Premier Kenney for the encouraging words, and of course, Mayor Nahid Nenshi for sharing his message of hope and excitement towards the joint progress of Infosys in Calgary. Thank you so much, Mary, for your strong leadership and partnership throughout the journey that so far, and the support you have extended to Infosys in our journey in Calgary, and of course for moderating the session with Mr. Sims and Dr. Ross. On the Infosys side, thank you for the great big thank you to Ravi Kumar for his sponsorship and his support and leadership towards Infosys growth and expansion plans in Canada. Anurag, my partner, thank you so much for your leadership in navigating our next really in Canada. Couldn't thank you more for that. And finally, a big thank you to all the team, all the people behind the scenes who have helped organize this event. And of course, a big thank you to all the attendees who took time to attend this event today and made it a good success. And I really look forward to our growth journey in Calgary and Canada as we move forward. Thank you very much.
SP, thank you so much. This has just been such a great dialogue, discussion. And again, the whole purpose of today was just to set this up for ongoing engagement. And for those of you on the call who are filling our box with questions, which is great. We've only got time for a couple, and we're going to try to sort them out here. Ravi, if I could ask you to come back and give us a sense, just one layer deeper, about both lateral recruitment, reskilling mid-career, as well as our partnerships with SAIT, U of C, U of A, and others on whether they be internships or off-campus recruiting. If you drill a little bit deeper on talent, that'd be great. And then I have one more question for another panelist after that.
Sure, Anurag, thank you for that. Well, we would need experienced talent for sure. They would be the beachheads for our programs. Having said that, we hire a large pool of talent from schools and colleges. We don't look for people who have a background on technology. We look for people who have a learnability index, as I call it. Students who have an aptitude, undergrad and grad students who have an aptitude for doing tech and digital services work. And then we build a 12-week training program, 8 to 12-week training program between different academic institutions, different pathways, and then we make them ready for digital jobs of the future. This isn't an experiment. We have done this for 30 plus years in India. We've been doing this for the last four plus years in the US. In the United States, we hire almost 3,500 school graduates every year. So we know this, we know how to do this. We want to replicate this in Calgary. So that's one. Second, we are going to go to, we are going to find a pool of talent who are looking for mid-career shift. Mid-career shift, what I mean is somebody who is working in, say, a check-in counter of a hotel, or a point of sale retail organization, or a teller of a bank. We believe we can reskill, radically reskill, and prepare them for the digital jobs of the future. And we have done that very efficiently in the US, and we will replicate that back in Canada as well. and we'll do that in Calgary. So that's the second stream of talent. So we have third stream of talent. We have experienced workforce, we have school graduates, we have mid-career shift from traditional industries. And the fourth is also hiring for digital backbone jobs. People who don't have a degree, people who actually have the capability to get to a backbone job, what I call end user computing, data operations, security operations. And then we have an apprenticeship program where we transition them to the core jobs. So you land on an Infosys job, you earn, work, and learn with us. And that program is called the Digital Apprenticeship Program. So we have a variety of things to offer. And not only are we going to do this alone, we are not going to do this alone. We're going to do this in the ecosystem there. And we are hoping that we can get others to join this force in the city of Calgary. So exciting time ahead on talent. And I completely endorse what I heard today about the extraordinary opportunity we have locally to uplift the tech and innovation capabilities locally, and to get others to follow. We are also very excited about hopefully building a startup ecosystem or supporting a startup ecosystem around our operations. So that's broadly a few important points. Anurag, if you want me to cover anything else, happy to do so.
Ravi, I'm just going to add. I'm going to ask you a very short one word question. Is it correct for the audience to see us begin on this type of talent and recruitment in the near term? Let's call it 3, 6, or 9 months.
We would immediately start. We are going to start to hire from schools locally. We will use some of the curriculum we already built. We will potentially look for partnership with the universities to sharpen that curriculum in context to the local ecosystem. But the rubber is going to hit the road immediately. We also believe that, and as I mentioned earlier, this is not just for Canadian clients. We're going to look for Canadian clients and US clients. It's a combination of the two. We also want to bring in a little bit of beachhead capacity with the Infosys heritage into the local economy so that this can accelerate faster.
Thank you. Last question is the last word, which I would love to give to the Premier and the Mayor. In terms of economic development, you obviously speak to a lot of companies from a lot of places to try to encourage them to come to Alberta and Calgary. If I could just get very short kind of lessons learned from working on the Infosys project, things that you can take forward, and tell us a little bit about, in a very short answer, if you could, both. I'll start with the Premier and then to the Mayor on the economic development story with Infosys and what was learned. Cannot hear the Mayor or the Premier.
Whoops.
Go ahead.
Sorry, hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Anurag. I touched on some of those points earlier, but the dominant issue in this discussion has been skills and workforce. And I just wanted to pick up on what Ravi was. I'm so excited to hear about your focus on helping people with a mid-career shift, because while we do have world-class post-secondary institutions like SAIT and U of C, U of A, and I'm so excited to hear about your partnerships there, one of the unique aspects of Calgary, really, I think quite unique in North America, is a very highly educated population, the highest incidence of post-secondary degrees of any city in Canada. And yet we have, sadly, very high unemployment, including in that well-educated population, because of 5 tough years in our largest industry, the energy sector. And you will find, for example, a lot of brilliant tech people who came here, for example, from India and other newcomers to Canada, who were laid off by major oil and gas companies in the last few years and are underemployed or unemployed, and a lot of other folks with relevant skills, engineering skills, finance skills, and your willingness to invest in their mid-career training is incredible. I just want to advertise that Alberta's government will be launching shortly our largest ever job training program called Jobs Now, which will partner with the private sector in demand-driven training programs. So we'll be there to offset costs of incremental training, particularly for folks who need to make that mid-career shift. So we're very excited to work with you on that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Ravi, if I may add one thing to what the Premier said, I think it's an important point. The business we are in is applying technology to business landscapes, which essentially means we need capabilities at the intersection of industries and technology. So all the deep expertise on energy, which is available locally in the city of Calgary, if we can bring it in conjunction with deep digital capabilities, we could be the powerhouse for the energy transition the world is going through. And we could not only cater to local clients, energy clients, but we could potentially be catering to global energy clients on this energy transition, which is at an inflection point, and that will be powered by digital technologies.
Thank you, Ravi. Mayor, anything from you on economic development lessons learned from Infosys, and then either Mayor or Mary. Mary would love for you to comment on the real estate impact from your perspective. So I'll leave the last two words to both of you so we can wrap it up in a timely manner. Thank you. Oh, can't hear you, Mayor. Yes.
Doing it like this. How's that for audio? Better?
Yes.
Okay, great. It's not like I have been doing this all day, every day for a year, but when this important announcement comes, suddenly we have technological problems. But I'm thrilled about this, and I'm particularly thrilled, Anurag, that you're giving Mary the last word. It's her favorite thing in the world to have the last word over me. So we'll let her do that. But you know, this has been a really important process for all of us. You know, economic development is a bit like matchmaking. And this is a bit like Indian matchmaking, not the terrible Netflix series, but a deeply important thing for us in terms of, we didn't just go to anybody. We wanted one of the global leaders here. And as Ravi pointed out, we wanted a global leader with deep, deep expertise in energy to help us think through our own economic transition. We wanted a company that was very good at helping people transition between industries, as well as hiring new grads. And we wanted a company that has a record of serving as a nucleus for an ecosystem, because as people leave, as they move on in different portions in their lives, they will start new businesses as well. And this will be an extraordinary part of the community as a whole. And we knew Infosys had a lot of history in all of that. And so that's something that we really appreciated. We appreciated the fact that we could talk about the quality of life, about the cost of doing business. You know, the CD Howe CD Howe Institute has identified that Calgary has the lowest cost of doing business of any major city in North America. So all of those things really came together very, very nicely. And the other thing that I will mention is that personal touches matter as well. How lucky were we to have a University of Alberta graduate, even if he's an Edmonton Oilers fan, within Infosys? How lucky were we to have a couple of extraordinary leaders in Alberta who are Indian diaspora folks themselves? I'm thinking of Rohit Gupta and Minister Prasad Panda, who have certainly been extremely helpful in continuing these conversations. And all of this really makes a huge difference. And I'm just so happy that we got through the matchmaking stage and that we got to the marriage. Now, j'ai vu aussi qu'il y avait une question en français, et peut-être je vais m'exprimer en français pour juste quelques mots. C'est une occasion importante aujourd'hui. C'est des nouvelles très grandes pour Calgary. Now, c'est pas la solution complète pour les problèmes économiques de Calgary, mais c'est très important. C'est très important pour les vacances des bureaux dans le centre-ville de Calgary et pour la création des jobs réels pour notre économie. So with that, over to you, Mary.
Thank you, Mayor Nenshi. The challenge is following you as you take all on material, but thanks, Anurag, throwing me the question. You know, I would echo what the mayor and the premier said about, you know, economic development, as I say, is a team sport, and having everybody in the community involved in this has been super helpful. And as I say, it's a team win. Certainly the new Invest Alberta has been a great help for us. And we believe that we're well set up to hunt in a pack. But I think it all starts with a vision. And, you know, I think we created a strategy called Calgary in the New Economy, which really was looking at Industry 4.0 and the impact it was going to have on our industrial sectors, things that we excel at, and how we are going to solve problems for the world with those digital technologies. And so obviously emphasis came to the top of the list of prospects for us to help us advance this vision for Calgary. And but as you know, it's been a long-term relationship. It's taken 4 years. And they say on average, it takes 3 years in economic development to get from going from a relationship to the actual transaction of it. And then back to the relationship of helping you assimilate here in the community. And we had COVID in the middle of it. So, you know, we know foreign direct investment contracted by about 74% last year. But now we're seeing it open up, and I think emphasis is the beginning of a fresh new start for Calgary. And really, as I say, it's such an opportunity-rich city. But we are so grateful that you made the leap of faith in us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Premier, Mayor, Dr. Ross, Mr. Sims, obviously to our Infosys President, Ravi Kumar, and my colleague on behalf of all of us at Infosys. Thank you so much for making this such a great start. Let's get married now, as Mayor Nenshi said. Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to being in touch with all of you.
Thank you.